Hey everyone, it's Joe, and I'm back for another masterful game review that is sure to blow your mind and make you question the meaning of life. If you don't experience those things, then you are watching this video wrong. Now, if you watch my Alan Wake review, then you know I am a big fan of the game and the franchise. I'm working on my video on Alan Wake Remastered, but until then, I thought I would drop a video on the only other Alan Wake game in existence, Alan Wake's American Nightmare. American Nightmare is sort of an anomaly in our universe and in the Alan Wake universe for that matter. On the one hand, it is a follow up to Alan Wake as the events take place after the story of the original. On the other hand, it could be a dream that Barry had about Alan. On the third hand, Remedy's other game, Control, seemed to suggest that these events kind of took place but also not really. On the fourth hand, maybe none of that matters because American Nightmare is more of the amazing Alan Wake experience we've come to know and love. It's more of the same in all the best ways and in some of the not so great ways, but we'll get to that. On with the review! Alan Wake's American Nightmare centers around, obviously, our returning hero Alan Wake. In my review of the first game, I avoided giving spoilers in order to spare anyone who hadn't played the game yet. But there is really no way to talk about American Nightmare without going into spoilers for the first game. So, long story short, spoiler alert! Alan Wake's American Nightmare picks up not long after the ending of the original. Alan is trapped in the dark place and is facing off with his evil doppelganger, Mr. Scratch, who we met briefly at the end of Alan Wake. Alan's goal is to defeat Mr. Scratch, escape the dark place, reunite with Alice, and reclaim his life. In order to do all of this, Alan has to write himself into a new reality, a power hinted at in the first game. Alan enters the world of Night Springs, an in-universe science fiction show inspired by the Twilight Zone. In this world, Alan is able to rewrite reality in such a way that will allow him to defeat his enemy and escape. This is the basic premise of the game, and unfortunately, this is the area where American Nightmare falls short. The scenario is a fun concept, but the execution is lackluster. We get to spend more time with Alan, but he's almost always alone. There are only 3 NPCs in the game, a tough car mechanic named Emma, a no-nonsense scientist named Rachel, and a rather forward filmmaker named Serena. None of these characters get any significant development, and due to a certain element of the story that I won't spoil, interacting with them becomes quite repetitive. The snappy dialogue of the first game is mostly not present due to the fact that you spend most of your time just running around by yourself, exploring and shooting. I mean, there aren't even any traditional cutscenes in the game, just live-action ones. They're cool and all, but come on! The absolute show stealer of this game is of course Mr. Scratch. Throughout the game, Alan uses TV screens to watch Mr. Scratch wreak havoc. Mr. Scratch is demonic, depraved, and despicable, which makes him an instantly compelling threat. He is essentially Joker to Alan's Batman, and the dynamic works perfectly. Unfortunately, there is no real sense of conclusion to this conflict, as there is no Mr. Scratch boss fight, and once you complete the final task, the game ends quite abruptly. Even the game itself seems to be unsure of what is going on, as the Rod Serling-esque narrator essentially says this could all be real or fake at the end of the game. There is a lot to enjoy here, but the story takes a backseat to the gameplay, which is unfortunate. Though American Nightmare's storytelling may be a step down from its predecessor, the gameplay takes a huge leap forward. Yes, the mechanics are mostly unchanged, but the flashlight gun combo combat is smoother and more fast-paced than ever before. The guns are fast and have a fantastic feel to them. Dodging is quicker and essential to survival, making it thrilling every time you pull off a cinematic dodge. There is greater weapon variety and new enemy types on which to test out your arsenal, including the Splitter, who can copy itself when you shine your flashlight on him, and the Grenadier, who chucks explosive darkness at Alan. The graphics are sharper as well, a highlight of which is Alan's flannel shirt blowing in the wind as he sprints. Overall, Alan Wake's gameplay is refined and even more fun than before, which is a huge plus for this game. In addition, American Nightmare comes with an exciting arcade mode, a first for the series. The mode has 5 maps that have normal and hard difficulty options. The idea is similar to your typical arcade mode. Kill multiple enemies in a row to build up your score multiplier. Avoid getting hit so you don't lose your combo, and pick up different weapons scattered throughout the map to give you an edge over your opponents. The arcade mode is fun and addictive, but sadly limited in scope. The small number of maps and lack of any mode variety means you can 100% the arcade in around 2 hours, unless you have trouble on the harder difficulties, which I understand because they can be quite tough. Part of me wishes Remedy had scratched the arcade mode and focused more on the story. For Pete's sake, the arcade mode locations are cooler than the ones in the main story. How does that make any sense? Overall, the gameplay is absolutely fantastic and the arcade mode adds more of a replay incentive. All of this adds up to a very worthwhile Alan Wake experience. So what's the verdict? Alan Wake's American Nightmare is kind of a one step forward, two steps back situation. It leaps forward significantly in terms of graphics and gameplay, but fails to live up to its predecessor's incredibly high bar for storytelling. The fact that the game seems unsure of what it is actually kind of poetic, since I have no idea what it is. You are unlikely to connect with any of the characters or even remember their names. Mr. Scratch is a great villain, and Alan facing off with him still makes the story very enjoyable, but it's still underwhelming since you don't actually get to face off with him. However, playing as Alan Wake feels better than ever in American Nightmare. It is an experience you should not pass up on if you are a fan. I still love this game, even though it isn't the masterpiece that the first one was. If I had to give American Nightmare a score, it would be 8 out of 10. There is so much to love and enjoy in this game, and I'm sure I will keep replaying the short but entertaining story and diving back into the arcade mode to take on the Taken for a high score. As far as I know, Remedy has no intention of remastering this game, so I would highly recommend grabbing it on your PC or Xbox and giving Alan Wake's American Nightmare a shot. Happy hunting! Okay, that was video review number 2. I did this twice, even though I used to think I couldn't even do it once. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and find that your life has been changed for the better. If not, then that's on you. Also, I promise that I have played games other than the ones Remedy has developed, and I will get to them in the future, but for now, it's all about Alan Wake Remastered and Control. Those videos should be dropping in the near future. If you know anything about Control's save file system, you might know why it's hard to get decent capture for that game. Alright, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the rewind. Nope, that one doesn't work either. Bye!